In my fury, it felt as though my hand had acted of its own will. And now, that same hand clutched the hilt with unyielding strength, and I felt a constrained tingling, a remote but palpable sense of longing, as the disabled Wraithblade tried vainly to embrace its physical twin.
So yeah, we've got the Reaver now, but more importantly, do you guys remember, that's a cool stance, do you remember the very beginning of the game when I showed you the opening cutscene from Blood Omen in which Vorador showed up and murdered most of the circle? Did you hear his voice saying, "Call your dogs, they can feast on their corpses"? They can feast on your corpses just like he did in that cutscene? That's where we are right now. That's where we are in the timeline. Vorador is here, and he's murdering the rest of the circle. And that's why Malik was too late to save them. Because of Mobius. Because Mobius stalled him to look after us, to take care of us. Manipulations, conspiracy.
Come to take your revenge, demon. Back to hell with you.
I recognize these two as my former brethren, in life as Sarafan, and in unlife as Cain's vampire sons. Melchiah and Zephon, the weakest of Cain's brood. These bastards had no idea what future lay in store for them, how they would become the very thing they so despised. The Reaver hummed with ravenous anticipation. Janos had called it a vampiric blade, endowed with the power to drain its victims of their lifeblood. I was eager to see what the Reaver would do to these two.
Whoops. But yes, we're fighting Melchiah and Zephon, the first two bosses of the first game. I can't tell which is which, but if I had to wager a guess, Melchiah is probably the one with the staff. Also, do you see their blood being absorbed into the blade? That's pretty cool. So for those of you who don't know the story of the first game, because, you know, Waji and Smooth Milk are here. Also, you'll notice my health isn't draining. You'll see, it'll explain why. If you remember the plot of the first game, the Sarafan warriors were long dead, and then Cain decided to raise their corpses into his vampire lieutenants, including myself. Does anyone see the sweet irony yet? Also, hi Shay, welcome. Alright, die. There goes his soul, but of course we can't eat that. Again, we'll see why.
As Melchiah and Zephon fell before my blade, I felt the Reaver's bloodthirst as keenly as I ever had when I was still a vampire. I could sense the boundary between us dissolving. The Reaver was consumed with my rage, and I was intoxicated by its bloodlust. The blade had a vitalizing effect on me. My physical energy no longer decayed over time, and the wounds inflicted by my foes healed almost instantly. The Reaver had made me invincible.
Exactly. This whole part is just one giant power fantasy. And I love it. The one thing I don't like, though, these two were the first bosses of the first game. Drunk, yes. These two were the first two bosses of the first game. and they were unique because, you know, final bosses, but they're so... they might as well just be regular soldiers here. Like, I know they're humans, but they couldn't have had something that was unique to them? Like, I don't know, Zephon's body had fused with the cathedral in the first game, so maybe he could do parkour and, like, bounce off walls and shit? I don't know what Malkai would do.
Have you come to reclaim the monster's black heart?
You'll have to get through us first.
My former brethren, Duma and Rahab, confronted me next. This all seemed so elegantly choreographed. Exhilarated by the Reaver, I was drunk with revelations. I could finally appreciate the delicious irony of Cain's blasphemous private joke, and I reveled as I colluded with him across the centuries. For it was I who put these bastards in their tomb, thus providing the corpses for Cain to raise as his vampire sons a millennium from now.
Exactly. The irony! It's so good. Also, I'm guessing the one in blue is Rahab, because Rahab used water. Rahab's thing was water in the first game. So I guess I don't know, the Sarafan are basically Templars. So I guess, I don't know, why not make Rahab like a water mage or something? Because magic is definitely a thing in this game. Instead of a soldier, like, they're warrior priests. Let them use magic. And what was Duma could have like a shield, because that was his thing. He was indestructible. Like, we could not fight him during his boss fight. We had to lead him to a thing. We had to lead him to a furnace and burn him alive. So that should be... So yeah, Rahab uses water magic. And Duma... I don't know, Duma has a shield. Or no, Duma uses fire magic because we burned him alive. It's perfect! I guess Malkaya could use, like... could be like a summoner or something, because his body was... He had a whole thing with, like, dead his body was made of corpses in the first game, so I guess that would be his thing. He's... Actually, I don't even know. He can't be a necromancer, because, warrior priest, but I don't... Yeah, never mind. Forget I say anything. I don't know what Malkaya's thing would be. But Zephon, Duma, and Rahab, I've got their stuff. Like, I've worked out what they could do. Hell, you had to print a thing. No problem, Smooth.
Get back to the pit you crawled from, demon.
And here at last was my brother Turel, who along with Duma would bear me into the abyss without questioning Cain's command. So dutiful and righteous, even as a vampire. I guess some habits die hard. The vampire Turel had eluded my vengeance. The Sarafan Turel would not.
And by eluded my vengeance, he of course means he was cut from the first game. So we never fought him. He was replaced by a weaker vampire of the same breed as him, from which we got our really weak telekinesis ability. And that's why it's so weak, because yeah. Because it wasn't from the source. I guess he could be a mage as well. And use, like, telekinetic abilities. I don't know. Is it school stuff, Smooth, that you need to print? Also, Shay, do you see this shit? It's a vampiric blade, and just drain all the blood. what I've never tried? Okay, you can't use the aiming reticle while holding the Reaver. Got it. I guess because you can't let go of it. So, we've killed all of them. We killed all our brethren in the order that we fought them in the first game. I guess it's also in the reverse order that they were raised, so who's left? Eh?